quiet day at Studio J today. We got Bo Allen out. He's on the disabled list with a hurricane. So he's stacking up sandbags outside of his Tampa residence. I think he might even be evacuated by now. Bucks, Chiefs, which is going to be a hell of a game, is probably going to be played in New Orleans or in Minnesota, from what I'm hearing. So it's impacting the Greenlight Pod. It's impacting the NFL.
Hurricane Ian could be the asshole.
How do they name these things, man?
I just know they're ordered alphabetically. So, like, the one that comes after the next one is the next letter in the alphabet. I don't know who actually chooses the name.
Ah, interesting.
But they got to run out at some point.
Well, Bo's evacuated. He's okay. And Bo will be in Philly hopefully this weekend at our, our Legends tailgate. Go to the chrislongfoundation.org website to check that out under events. We're going to be tailgating at the Navy Yard before the game. Going to have a few former Eagles players there, myself included. We're going to be bullshitting, shotgunning beers. We'll be doing a live show, Greenlight, in the parking lot there with Philly media legend Les Bowen by my side. So as well as guys like Brent Selleck, Todd Harrimans is talking about coming out, AJ Feely, and Bo if Ian doesn't act like a total asshole this week. But yeah, no. It's probably going to rain a lot here too. So the river's going to be up, and I'm thinking maybe we should get on that pumpkin.
We can give it a shot.
I was kind of thinking maybe we could get on. By the way, what did the fans name the pumpkin, Reed?
Hydrated pumpkin.
Not my favorite. My favorite was the cornucopia canoe.
Cornucopia canoe. That's what I voted for as well. But hydrated pumpkin. So we're going to draw that. We'll write your Twitter right next to it, Hydrated King.
So to let people in on this again, I want to break the record, 38 miles down a river on a pumpkin. A guy in Missouri did it a few months ago. He said, I take my hat off to whoever breaks this record. They're probably pretty tough, which probably disqualifies me. But I think I've got an outside chance. We've been trying to get a hold of this guy to no avail. We just want some fucking pointers, how I might increase my chances of completing this mission.
His name's Dwayne Hansen, but they call him Cinderfella.
Because of the pumpkin.
Because Cinderella travels in a giant pumpkin carriage to meet her prince.
Good. And a total Dwayne. This is a Dwayne move, dude. And shout out to Dwayne. I'm coming for that record.
You have to wear jorts and a camo hat, just like he did.
No problem.
Cool.
Yeah. Would be. What are you going to wear? Because you're going to be right there with me for all of the 1 or 2 days that we're going to be doing this. I'm just going to hype this up until I have to do it. This is kind of how I do everything, including the Waffle House, which is coming up.
Oh, right.
I got to go to the Waffle House coming up for last year's Thursday Night Time Machine. I'm 0-1 already this year because of last week and the Steelers. So we'll be back there. More housekeeping. We talked about Bo. Bo's out with a hurricane. The Charlottesville Gentleman League has settled on a fantasy punishment. We've been going back and forth on this thing. Good news is I'm 2-1. I feel like it's probably not going to be me. The better news is this sounds like a fucking real cupcake punishment to me.
What do they got lined up?
So we settled on. I didn't settle on this. The group settled on this. It's like kind of a Hunger Games deal where the loser has to run. Like this guy's got a 60-acre farm. The loser's going to be running around this motherfucker in a Ralphie the Bunny suit. Macon says that we should still do, Macon thinks we should evade taxes. Like the loser has to evade the IRS.
That's actually quite genius of him.
Quite dangerous, dude.
Yeah, like you really don't want to lose.
But that's probably what he already does. You know how he is about money. So for him, he's just making it easy on him because he's probably already evading taxes.
Loophole.
Right? Exactly. So we there's no giving up. It's 60 acres. It's a guy in a bunny suit, and it's a bunch of people with paintball guns. So it's basically like Hunger Games. And you have an hour out in the woods, and there's no limitation on how many times you get hit by paintballs.
That doesn't sound that bad.
Doesn't sound that bad. I might lose the league on purpose. Be like Sylvester Stallone in First Blood. You know what I mean? Like that's the way I would be like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator, the original, with all the booby traps and shit. But I'm obviously not going to lose the league. Somebody said loser gets an hour to hide, set up, and is strapped. They're strapped? So they get a gun?
Yeah.
After that hour, the search begins. War lasts 2 hours. If the loser shoots you, that's where you draft. So that's where you draft. So if you get shot first, you have the 10th pick. Oh, interesting. If we shoot, capture the loser, they face a firing squad. If we don't shoot, capture the loser in those 2 hours, loser gets first pick. That sounds stupid.
It does. And also, if I was going to play that game, I'd want to be the person that lost the league. That sounds the most fun because you're like, you can shoot the other people.
Bro, this isn't even a punishment. This sucks, dude. I know that some of these guys listen to this podcast. I'm not even going to text back. That's a stupid fucking punishment. But I'll go with the flow. Tommy Alter's league, that piece of shit. I'm 2-1. So, last bit of housekeeping. Oh yeah, I'm the Eagles honorary captain this weekend. So that's exciting. Yeah. Round of applause. It's great. Thank you guys. Yeah, thank you. Honorary captain.
Do you have an outfit you're gonna wear?
I have no idea what I'm gonna wear. And then Waylon.
Eagles jacket, duh.
Probably my Eagles jacket.
No,
I gotta
bro.
check. I gotta check the weather.
Run
bro.
the parade outfit back.
No, I'm not running that. That's a me guy move. You don't, right? You don't want to.
That's a I love this crowd move.
No,
they love you in that
that's
outfit.
That's a hardo move, dude.
I guess
they love me in that. It's shooting fish in a barrel with that. I want to make it a little harder. So Sunday it's probably going to rain.
Dog mask?
They're raining on my parade. No, I'm not wearing a dog mask. But if it rains, I got to think of my fit, and it's going to really, like, my kids are going with me. We want to put them in jerseys, the whole 9 yards. And there's been some back and forth about what Waylon should wear. I said, put him in a Lane Johnson jersey. And my wife was like, no offense to Lane, I think he's got this Allen Iverson jersey. That would be pretty cool.
That is cool.
With like a long sleeve under it.
I like that you could give them both jerseys that are vaguely penis related with Johnson and Cox.
Yeah, I thought about that. But then it's like kind of like dick jokes, using your kids for dick jokes.
Is that a no-no?
Yeah, it's probably a code break. So yeah, I'm gonna be out there at the coin toss. I'm gonna see Doug EP up there.
How do you think the crowd will react to Doug? Because they're a famously difficult crowd.
I think they're gonna cheer him.
Me too.
I think they'll absolutely cheer him. That guy's a legend in Philly. So I don't think anybody on that roster, ironically, except for Carson Wentz, is fair game. Because Carson just made them feel a certain way. You know, it's like the disdain for his play, and then the rejection that they felt when he didn't want to stay and be hated. You know, it was like, you don't want to play our game? You want out? We benched you? We hate you? You want out? So, like, he's the only guy probably on the team that's fair game for Eagles fans to boo. Like, Doug Peterson's going to get a hero's welcome, and he should.
They won't boo Jason Peters when he plays for the Cowboys?
Listen, man, and you know, some people said, well, the Deshaun Jackson situation was different. Deshaun Jackson, of course, left for Washington, and, you know, it was Chip's fault, and so that softens the blow, the whole thing. But Jason Peters is 40 years old. He's trying to continue to play football. He probably only had one option. It happened to be the Dallas Cowboys. And by the way, as we get into last night, he looked pretty good. He got in the second quarter, and right away sealed a dude that sprung a long Pollard run and really looked solid. I mean, that's got to be pretty cool. We used to joke with Martellus Bennett about, you know, when he retired, he would move into tackle and play another 10 years because he was like 280. And, you know, there are some guys that I feel like could move a little closer to the ball, put on a couple pounds, and keep that train rolling. And Jason Peters, being as massive as he is, and great as he is as a vet, he's got technique, he's got experience. He brings them something, if not depth. You know what I'm saying? So good to see him in Dallas. I'm not an Eagles lifer. I am now, but I didn't grow up watching the Eagles the way y'all did, so you can't expect me to react as viscerally as y'all do when you see Jason Peters in a Dallas uniform. I thought the guy looked good, and I say good for him. And while I'm on the O-line, I want to stay here for a second. Mr. Tyler Smith is what I call him, because when he gets out in fucking space, you better respect that guy. He looks like one of those old school Dallas Cowboys offensive linemen. I mean, it's a perfect place for him. And he's going to play a long time there. Only gave up, I think, one pressure last night.
One pressure, 31 snaps.
I think he gave up one to Ojulari. And by the way, Thibodeau, I want to give him some time. I mean, just good to see him back out there. Didn't do much last night, but he's got a ways to go. He'll have time to catch up.
His last game, he got injured on a chop block, right?
Yeah.
How much do you think that was playing into his mind?
I think he's looking, and the Cowboys ran a lot of 2 tight end sets. Like Brian Baldinger talked about this. Cooper Rush has been protected differently. The offense has worked differently under Cooper Rush. They're playing differently under Cooper Rush, and one of those things they're doing is getting in a lot of 2 tight end sets and those sorts of things. I guarantee you the rest of his career, Thibodeau will not miss a split zone. Like he'll be hitting that tight end before the guy can set his feet. And he should, because that's a great teacher is pain, man. And I know that hurt. And I know that really derailed the beginning of his season, but it's all about film study, pre-snap recognition. And I don't think that's going to slow him down in the long run. I just think what's going to happen is he's going to look across the formation a little bit more. Cooper Rush is the story. Shout out to Billy Football. Cooper Rush Ashana is what he called him, serving up lamb with a touchdown for the new year.
That's good.
And a happy new year to our Jewish listeners as well. I love that everybody has a different new year.
Yeah, they say Shana Tova the new year.
Shana Tova?
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova to those folks. I know we've got the Chinese New Year coming up some point in the next year.
Yeah, I mean, different languages, different calendars, different religions,
Time is a flat circle. It's not real. But Happy New Year. Cooper Rush is that's 3 fourth quarter overtime game-winning drives in a row to start his career. Dan Quinn was playing chess last night. He's moving Micah Parsons all over the field. Of course, Jeff Schwartz and I were texting earlier, and he pointed out really adeptly like that they were moving DeMarcus Lawrence around. And if you go to Jeff Schwartz's Twitter, you'll see some of the posts that he the clips that he had posted. But when you have a guy like Micah Parsons, the question is, do you like to move around as a rusher? Do you like to stay in one place? I always liked lining up in one place, left end, because I was more of a right-handed player. You want your inside hand to be your strong hand. I also had a better push leg because of some injuries to my right knee. So, I was always suited better for that side. Somebody as good as Micah Parsons, he can probably rush anywhere. And he's young enough that he's building habits all over the field. He lined up 5 different places last night in the first half alone. I think what he does is it's kind of like pre-snap motion. We talk about pre-snap motion a lot. Like the last couple days, especially, I think we talked about it with Miami, with Jacksonville. This is pre-snap motion for an offense. It's not only does an offense have to sift through, where's the safety down? How's everybody rolled? What does it look like? Do we have pressure? Do we have man? Do we have zone? But you gotta figure out where Micah Parsons is. If Micah Parsons is in one place, it's a lot easier. He's moving around. That might not be the best thing for him. Maybe you want to get into a rhythm against an Evan Neal like DeMarcus Lawrence did, but maybe your best matchup exploitations are all over the field. So I'm totally fine with him moving around, and DeMarcus Lawrence played a great game. I've always been a fan of his game, man. Injuries have kind of made it a little bit more of an up and down deal for him the last couple, but I can remember the year he had 14 and a half, absolute dog. Just an all-around really good player, and moved all up and down the line last night. I saw him win inside, left guard, right guard, in the A-gap, loop stunts, damn near had 7 sacks, honestly. Really, go back and watch the tape. This guy almost had 7 sacks last night. And that's the thing about being a rusher. When you get there, you got to make them count, but against the Giants, maybe you'll get there again and again and again. And I know I talked about Evan Neal in preseason to hurt some people's feelings, but he was top heavy. And when he stops his feet, he has a hard time getting started again. He leans. And if you can do that cross chop, that DeMarcus Lawrence has really, it's worked for him a lot in his career. And it worked last night 3 times, dude. Fool me thrice, dude, over there at right tackle. Evan Neal, what that does is it shortens the corner. And by shortening the corner, I mean, as a rusher without elite speed, elite burst to the edge, getting to 7 yards, beating a tackle to 7 yards. DeMarcus Lawrence, or a guy like myself, needs mechanisms to sit a tackle down at 4 or 5 yards. so that you can turn your hips more easily at 4 or 5 yards. If I stop him in his tracks at 4 yards with that stutter that DeMarcus Lawrence was doing last night. Okay, Evan Neal's feet stop, his weight goes forward. Now you cross chop down and you get his edge. And if there's two yards of wash as he tries to push you by, you're at 6, not 9, if that makes sense. So it's setting people down quicker. Mike Waffle, our D-line coach, used to always talk about, dictating the terms of a rush and, tilt tracks and shortening the edge. A tilt track being, hey, I'm going to angle right in at a tackle. So when he kicks as hard as he can because he's maybe afraid of my speed, I'm headed right for his inside shoulder, which is going to make him effectively stop his feet. And if I can burst back outside the way DeMarcus Lawrence was last night, that's a winning rush. And Robert Quinn used to do a cross chop great. And the reason Robert Quinn was so great was he could shorten the edge and pop back out, or he could just run by you too. And so a big night. Yeah, he's still killing it. Big night for DeMarcus Lawrence.
You mentioned Mike Waffle. He's the first ever guest of a podcast in a Waffle House.
Well, I thought that was Arian Foster. I thought that was Billy Football.
Setting the record
Mr.
straight.
Cooper Rosh Hashanah.
Come on, Big T. Check your facts.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Hey guys, we can share that corner. But yeah, the defense had a big day, a bunch of sacks, bunch of pressures. I just don't feel like Daniel Jones has real good spidey senses, man. Like somebody will be about to sack this dude and he's just looking downfield, which I don't fault him for. He's not afraid, from this.
He'll go for it.
For a kid from Duke who probably has a bunch of vineyard vines, he's not afraid. And he's pretty tough. He takes a beating. He's a good athlete, but
if he was my backup quarterback, I'd feel great about it.
Yeah. So the defense played well. We had Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones continues to pour gas on the fire with this Dak Prescott Cooper Rush thing. Last night I had an Ed Harris and Truman Show meme all fired up, like Ed Harris proudly looking down on Jim Carrey in his little fake world. That's the way Jerry was looking down at the end of the game at Cooper Rush. He was just so proud of him. Cooper Rush, I'm just so proud of that boy. I might drum up a quarterback controversy, a fine Southern quarterback controversy. And he is. But when Dak gets back, I think he's got too much invested in him. I think he sees that. Listen, Cooper Rush runs the offense differently. The top end of this offense is different. The team plays better. Or the team plays more carefully with him in the game. Although the Cowboys missed a lot of opportunities last night. Defensively, they missed a big one. Trayvon Diggs, he could have had a pick six, went right through his hands. They had a bunch of penalties. But no mistakes were more like, oh, fuck, than CeeDee Lamb dropping that ball for what would have been an easy walk-in touchdown. He's as open as I've seen anybody in the NFL this year at that depth. And Cooper Rush hit him on the hands. He hit the rookie on the hands, I think before the half on a go route. But that CeeDee Lamb drop was just brutal, especially if you had Cowboys over team total and Cowboys live. The number was 19. And at that point, I'm like, fuck, what are we doing, man? Come on, CD. And then he's laughing, and you're like, you better come back and make a play at some point in this game. Not only that, he dropped the ball on third and whatever it was in the first half in a field goal. It was a baseball game, man. It was a fucking baseball score. And the guy, every score counts. He drops the ball on third down in plus territory. Instead of being able to kick a field goal, they got a punt. So, he was behind the 8 ball in the second half. But when I tell you he redeemed himself on that last drive, and by the way, Mike McCarthy going for it on 4th and 4, nuts on the table, right?
Mojo moment.
Yep. Randy Marsh, mojo moment. Balls in the wheelbarrow moment. Randy Marsh moment. 4th and 4, he goes. And who else does he look to? Cooper Rush at the sticks, and he gets clobbered. Right on the other side of the sticks is CeeDee Lamb, and he holds on to that football. A couple plays later, you get him in the corner of the end zone with one hand. And making that really difficult play is the perfect way to redeem yourself, because it's not like you have to. It's not like one of those easy catches where you're like, let me not fuck this one up again. It's like, throw me a ball that if I miss it, nobody's gonna look at me sideways, and that ball was in the right place where only he could catch it, and it took a spectacular catch. And so for CeeDee Lamb, who's got to step up big for them this year, that's a big, big performance for him in the second half. Shaking it off and heading to the locker room, feeling a lot better than he probably did when he went in at the half. So big win for them. Listen, I said they might not be in it when Dak gets back. If Dak is back for LA, they're going to be in it. If Dak is, 6 to 8 weeks as it was first reported, I don't know. This isn't how the Cowboys can live every week. I don't think the Giants are that good.
No, but they got Washington at home next week.
They get Washington at home next week. They probably win that ball game. They got LA coming up, which will be a challenge. And then they got Philly, I think it is. So really pivotal 3-week stretch for them because the Eagles don't look like a team that's going to lose a lot. The Eagles, who I'm going to see this weekend against, the Jags, and I think ironically this might be their toughest test for a while. Eagles are favored to win the NFC now, and those odds came out today. If you look at the rest of the Eagles' schedule, find me a top 5 quarterback outside Aaron Rodgers, and find me a game that they're not going to be favored in. I think in The Athletic, somebody had set the odds for all these games based on models and that sort of thing, but each game they're favored in the rest of the season.
Yeah, so
Eagles in the driver's seat. They'll be favored. No top 5 quarterbacks outside Aaron Rodgers. You don't have a lot of room. This is a Cowboys team that if you're thinking about winning the division, you should probably think more about the wild card. And I'm not calling it early, but I'm just telling you these are two teams in totally different places.
Eagles have had good health so far. As long as that continues, that's the key.
Exactly. So good night for Cooper Rush. He's been really good against the blitz. And again, another game-winning drive. You had the drops for CeeDee Lamb. He got over them. Parsons, D-Law, they played well. We talked about Mr. Tyler Smith. And then I just want to shout out a couple people, a couple hollow men for the Giants. Number one, the guy just smothered in blue paint. I got 50,000 retweets on this or likes on this thing. Like I was just at the kitchen table watching Monday Night Football and noticed the guy who had just put the whole bucket of Sherwin-Williams on his face. He had painted a Giants helmet on his face, so he's got the stripe going all the way up and down his face. He looks dejected. I think it might have been after the Kenny Galaday drop or something, but this guy's just staring into a void. And I couldn't help but thinking about the fact that all these people that fuck themselves up like this, they have to drive home.
Yeah.
And they have to wash it off. Like, first I'm imagining this guy like, at the toll with a blue face.
With
guy at the gas
streaks
station
on his cheeks.
No, I don't think he was crying. I think this guy, like, you're showing up and you know what could happen when you paint your face like that. Like, it is within the realm of possibility. The Cowboys are slight dogs, at MetLife. Like, you could lose this game to Cooper Rush.
Got to support the team.
You got to support the team. That man is driving home quietly, no music on. I know he doesn't have any music on. He's not listening to music. His face is blue. He's driving through tolls. He gets home. How long does it take to wash that shit off? By the time you get home, it might be 3-4 hours till you got to go to work, depending on where this cat lives. So,
and then the anxiety of maybe he missed a spot. He wakes up in the morning and maybe there's some behind his ear.
Oh my God, dude. Imagine trying to climb into bed and like get some action after that. Like you come home and you're like, you think you're entitled to maybe some sex. You're like, hey babe. She's like, you have blue shit all over your face. Now it's on the bed. Go wash yourself off. You're drunk. Like this guy, dude. And I'll admit, in high school, early high school, late middle school, that time period, I think I was 13. I went to a Carolina Panthers game with my buddy Austin Yount, and we painted our faces. I think it was two-tone. I was in the stands. I got the awkward picture with the cheerleaders. I was like tall as shit, had a bad haircut, stood in between them, clenched fists in small of their backs because I didn't want to put, too awkward to put the fingertips on the small of the back. I got the fucking clenched fists. I'm taking pictures with a painted face and really hot cheerleaders. Like, I've been there, but I was in middle school.
Maybe this guy's like a mega celebrity that just wants to be left alone.
Not a code break, though. He could be. Like, I heard Eminem used to go to Detroit games in a mask, Lions games. So yeah, that could be the guy from King of Queens or something.
Was it a lunch bag on his head?
Oh, it wasn't a lunch bag. That was the Saints. You think Harry Connick Jr. has been to a Saints game in a fucking trash bag before? So yeah, Hollow Man goes to that guy. But I also want to send some support to people that paint their faces and wear jerseys, man. It's not a code break. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't even be talking about this right now. So like, I'm all for it. And then the second Hollow Man is going to be Kenny Galaday, man.
Yeah.
This is a real shame. Listen, he's a good player. He got overpaid. I mean, he's on a $72 million contract. And of course, it's a terrible place to be on a $72 million contract when you're barely catching any footballs. He's got 2 catches for 22 yards so far in the season. He had a bad, supposedly a bad OTA. He had a bad training camp preseason. They got a white guy out there, a former quarterback, like Dable's running it back on the Chris Hogan, fucking. Yep. I wonder if this guy played lacrosse or went to Rutgers. But they're playing this guy I've never heard of over Kenny Galaday. And at what point are you making a point? And at what point, like, will you need him? Because after he dropped that ball last night, and I mean, I felt terrible for him in light of everything he said this past week. Which, by the way, if you don't know the background, Kenny Galaday was asked about the fact that he wasn't playing a lot, and I thought he did a masterful job of answering to a very aggressive media pool. Like, they were pressing him on, are you unhappy here? Do you want to be traded? He didn't take away from the team, but he stood up for himself individually. He said, I want to play more. And he got his first target and drops the ball on 3rd and 12 or whatever it is. Yep. Now, I don't know that he gets the sticks, but it was a bad look. He got booed, went to the sideline. I feel for him. Listen, here's the craziest part about his whole contract situation is the reason they can't move him is the money, right? They can't move him because of the money. He was owed $14.5 million this year or something like that. $10 million of that was guaranteed anyways. $4.5 million was guaranteed the first day of the league year. Now, what's wrong with that? Usually people's guarantees like that kick in 3 days in the league year. His kicked in the first day, right? Mm-hmm. So Gettleman is food to these agents, man. Like, as soon as the league year started, you couldn't cut him because, you got to tack that on to another $10 million, which was coming guaranteed, if I understand it correctly. So $14.5 million fully guaranteed.
Wow, that's interesting.
And that's the last regime there. So I know Dable might just be fucking mad at Joe Judge and fucking Gettleman. And when they signed him, they wanted 2019 Kenny Galaday. They got, some version of whatever, but 2020 he only played 5 games, and they signed him after that, hoping he'd return to form in 2019. So, it's going to be interesting seeing what they do with him because Shepard got hurt right after this whole thing. I feel terrible for Shepard. He's a great kid. He's had a lot of bad luck, non-contact injury. Odell Beckham's asking, why don't we play on grass? And I'm asking, what took you so long? Yeah. Because I fucking hate field turf, and it's terrible to look at on TV. And if we want to go with the non-contact injury thing, I will ride this till the wheels fall off until we're out there with grass stains on Thanksgiving because I can't take it anymore. I can't take watching it. I can't take watching guys get hurt on it. It doesn't make things feel better when you're out there. It feels good to play on grass. Now, some guys like Torrey Smith, my good friend, we've argued over this. He wants all dome stadiums.
It is crazy, actually, to think about it, that there's like 2 totally different surfaces that affect the game so much, and it can be so different based on how you build your team.
No question. Hey, real quick, and then we're going to get Kyle in here. Scoring is down. It's the lowest since 2006. So we got 42 points a game combined is the average through 3 weeks here, which is just bad for the league. It's bad for gamblers because you're so afraid to bet the under. In Vegas, by the way, they made their adjustments quick. Like right. It's not like people have been winning bets on totals because of these the actual totals going down. Vegas adjusted while we were all drunk on Sundays. They were in the lab.
Between 2013 and 2019, it was 22.8 points per game. 2020 was 24.8.
So there was a big jump in 24. And now for 3 years, scoring's been down mostly the last couple of years since 2020. And then also passer ratings have gone down lately. The reason 2020 was an outlier was we had more PI. If you remember, that was that whole like increased emphasis on PI. So offenses were just going crazy. And maybe we needed that infusion as a league coming off of all the social stuff that people said, I'm going to take my fucking DirecTV subscription.
And the refs had no fear of calling the flags because there was no crowd.
Well, there was no crowd, and that takes the fear out of it, but what it also does is takes the crowd noise out of it. So if you're playing offense on the road, like, there's no challenges. I can remember Detroit playing the Eagles and beating the Carson Wentz-led Eagles. There's a bunch of cardboard cutouts in the stands. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen, but it's not fucking difficult to play on the road in 2020. So you had the PIs, you had less holding. I remember JJ Watt tweeting about that. Like, they were holding a bunch, not calling it, and then you had no fans in the stadium. We talked about that, and coaches were going for it a lot on fourth down. I feel like 2020 was the year that the coaches started reading their mentions.
Yeah.
And they were going on fourth and short a lot more. So 17 teams under 20 points a game through 3 weeks. In 2021, only 10 teams averaged under 20 points a game. So there's a lot that goes into that. I think it's kind of obvious why scoring's down. You've got injuries. You have Dak out. You have Stafford hurt. I know he's playing, but he's hurt. You have Zach Wilson out. I mean, it's not insignificant that
Chicago Bears by themselves bring down the league
Chicago
average.
Bears are running the ball on third down. Trey Lance got hurt. Not that that's a big driver of points, but like, you get the point. There's Jameis is playing with a broken back. Herbert's hurt. Brady wasn't at camp, so there's a big, long time that they had to get ready without their starting quarterback. You had injuries there. Rodgers without Adams. He had Adams for 8 years. He also doesn't have MVS. You had an injury for Bakhtiari. He's just coming back. Elton Jenkins. Burrow misses camp with an appendectomy. I mean, like, his own line sucks. Matt Ryan's got new receivers, barely.
Most of the top players in the draft are on defense.
Exactly. Tannehill lost A.J. Brown. Russ, new guys, right? Let's ride, but, we're going to start slow. And Mac Jones has 7 offensive coordinators. So, like, by the way, being Brian Hoyer sucks, dude. Imagine you've been thirsting to play meaningful football anywhere but Cleveland, because that's where you got most of your snaps, right?
Yep.
A chance to prove who you are. Oh, New England, this is going to be fun. Well, let me answer to 2 guys who have never called offense before. Like, literally, Brian Hoyer, I've said before, should call that offense.
He should. They don't really have a choice.
They should let him be the first coach player in history. Besides Aaron Rodgers, of course, who in week 17 one year led the Packers to like 1 million yards.
Greatest OC in
history. But bottom line is, it's a bunch of great quarterbacks who are going through changes. Brady lost Gronk. We talked about the injuries. Rodgers is retooling. Mahomes lost Cheetah. Herbert lost Keenan Allen through 2 of the first 3 weeks. He's on a bad rib. And we talked about Russell adjusting. Everybody's adjusting. Lamar's been playing great because he's got better weapons than last year. Tua's been playing great because he's got better weapons than last year. Jalen's playing great. He's got better weapons than last year.
All 3 of those guys have great schemes, too.
They have great schemes, great weapons. A lot of these kind of like, top 5 guys perennially. And the Bills the scoring is probably down a touch, maybe. At least early in the game. Warren Sharp had pointed this out. In the first half, they're a little less aggressive. Ken Dorsey's scheme's a little bit more like dink and dunk, death by 1,000 paper cuts. So I think the scoring will come back up. But it is an interesting look at what the league looks like when the GOATs aren't firing on all cylinders. It does feel a little weird, right? It kind of feels weird to put, some of the teams as high as we are. We're like, really? There's not any better teams than that?
Right. And is that now called the Dorsey when the OC flips out in the booth?
It's got to be. He
needs somebody else to do that for a shot at redemption.
Ken Dorsey needs a hold me back guy.
Right.
So I got to go to softball in a second here. But when I get back from softball, we'll brief you on the game. And my brother Kyle will be in, and we'll do a mailbag. We'll have some fun. But that's the fastest. Also, Vegas, by the way, I was just mentioning them. I want to run through this real quick. Niners, 6-1 money. Tickets 3-1. So Vegas made good money on that ball game on Monday night. I helped that out a little bit. And then the Chiefs, 7-1 on money this weekend for Vegas.
I helped that.
2.5. You contributed there. 2.5 on tickets. The one place, I think Green Bay hurt Vegas a little bit. So, we all contribute a little bit. You're welcome. Win bet. I'm going to go play softball, and I'll be back in a little bit, and we can talk about that and some more bullshit.
Hit a dinger.
I'm going to try. Hey, I'm back from softball, and we lost. I'll tell you about it, but Kyle's here. So We're going to do some mailbag, some housekeeping. Second housekeeping, like when they come back and you're like, I already had housekeeping.
Get the windows too.
Yeah. Which is worse? Game point 5. 1, going bald over 6 feet. 2, being a short king. Kyle, the answer is easy.
What's worse?
Yeah.
Being a short king. There's no.
We've already kind of outlined this.
Yeah.
Being a short king is great in high school.
I think being a short king is great now in general, but being a tall king, albeit bald, is still, I think, the dominant.
Like, you don't have to put anything on your head right now, dude. It looks great.
No, I'm balding. You know,
but you have such
I got bald spot, but I'm tan and I'm confident and I take care of myself. And,
you exfoliate.
And there we go.
Look at me squarely.
Square.
I mean, your head just has got such a perfect point to it, man.
Thanks.
I mean, it's perfect. If
I do
went
have
bald,
the dent in the middle, though. I think it's from wearing headphones, playing too many.
The top of my head
games.
looks like an eraser. You know, the old school erasers.
You do. Number two.
Like it's just, it wouldn't be good, dude.
Man, I feel like Jason Statham set the tone for handsome bald guys that are dangerous, and I'm just carrying the torch now.
Oh, so you're Jason Statham.
Well, big Jason Statham.
Big Jason Statham. I don't know. I'm not, no disrespect to short kings. They're the ones that are getting all the girls. They've been getting the girls since the beginning of time. Harry Styles is short king.
It's all about how
There's
you
no
rock
way
it.
he's tall. I don't even need to look it up.
No, Niall Horan,
Say some actors. I can tell you how tall they are because I know.
and they're all just crushing.
Timothy Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet is a wiry 6 foot.
Timothy Chalamet is 5'11"
He's a
and
wiry
98
6
pounds, and he's from the future.
Timothy Chalamet is 5'10",
Damn.
Yeah, see, not bad. He's not.
and Harry Styles is 6 flat.
Wow, but he's got major
I like this
SKE, man. SKE. He's too confident.
That
Too
guy
charismatic.
would steal our chicks so fast.
And I wouldn't even be mad. I'd just be like,
I'd be
yeah,
like,
go,
that's Harry Styles.
go with Harry Styles.
Zac Efron. He can't be taller than 6'2".
No, I think he's tall.
God, he's
Niall
ripped.
Horan.
God, he's
is
ripped.
5'8".
He's
Zac
a scratch
Efron.
golfer.
You think
Zac Efron's
You think
5'8".
Efron was mad he didn't get the Barbie movie?
I think Zac Efron's not really mad ever.
Right? Because that would have been the perfect cast. It's just it's brunette bias.
Zac Efron's so handsome he played a serial killer and he was happy in the movie.
What movie's that?
Ted Bundy.
Oh, he was Ted Bundy?
And he was a great Ted Bundy. I never met Ted Bundy, but I like, it was a good movie.
The problem with doing these serial killer movies is you're sexualizing the fucking sickos,
And
dude.
that's the point they were making.
A bunch of women are watching Ted Bundy and they're like, that's kind of hot.
But there were women in court
Might let him kill me.
Yeah.
lusting over Ted Bundy during the trial.
Yeah.
And that was a problem. Like, it was a real
Yeah, it's a problem on Netflix too, Kyle.
Like the guy who was like, I eat ass, they were like,
we
Ted
fuck
Bundy.
serial killers.
I have a sign too.
Yeah.
I know you guys are saying Bundy, but are you talking about Jeffrey Dahmer with
Jeffrey
the new
Dahmer.
series?
I'm going wherever Big Dog is taking me. here.
Jeffrey Dahmer series is kind of sketchy, I heard. And obviously the details were awful. Jeffrey Dahmer, terrible human.
No, we don't need to do a serious. We don't
Why
like
are we
serial killers
watching
thing
Jeffrey
right now.
Dahmer on Netflix?
I disapprove of serial
Why are
killers.
we watching Jeffrey Dahmer on Netflix?
Kyle's like, I'd like to pause the podcast.
Like the weed kicked in for a second.
Yeah.
I was like, hold on a second.
Hold on a second. I don't want anybody
Why the
thinking
fuck are you watching
that we
Jeffrey
are pro
Dahmer?
serial killer.
Go watch.
If you're talking about Ime Udoka and not Jeffrey Dahmer,
How'd the softball game go, Chris?
oh, softball game. What softball game? Oh man, how did it go? There's so many words I could use, but I'll use the words 24-8.
24-8. Do you guys need more fielders or more hitters?
Kyle,
You're a big Kobe fan?
640. Yeah. That's what we were doing. It was our Mamba mentality. We lost 24-8. Sometimes it's time to go home and stop taking shots. Mamba.
Is it like your first rack of at bats? Do you realize that your team's not good enough, or is it your first inning in the
these
field?
These dudes from Greene County, man,
They can play.
they knew the Knight brothers.
Oh,
They-
Trevor and Kirk.
Yeah, Kirk, Trevor. Let's not forget Travis. Okay,
Right.
Travis. People forget about Travis. Could mash. These dudes from Greene County, they could mash, bro. They could squash the bug. And so, I see these country boys come out and they're just
All ball.
laying the lumber, dude. We had a guy on first was like, let me get a windshield, Big Dog, talking to the guy at the plate. The guy at the plate, kind of unassuming looking, goes right center on the big field. No problem. First at bat. I'm like, this is going to be a problem. This is going to be a problem for the
What are the
Brewdogs.
outfits? Are they in baseball outfits?
These guys are in fucking jeans and shit. No, they weren't in jeans. I'm not trying to slander there, but you know they weren't
They're
worried
whooping
about
ass
it.
in dungarees out there.
They weren't worried about it, dude.
Yeah.
Anyways, I hit a triple off the wall, 1 for 2, but 2 at bats, man. You know, just when I'm getting warmed
Two
up.
ABs.
Yeah, just when I'm getting warmed up, the fucking umpire calls the game because there's a 15-run slaughter rule.
Oh, my.
I was like, I didn't even. Our skip, Fabio, got in a big back and forth. He's got this Highlander thing with this ump. They got into it 2 weeks ago on a Sunday night, the game that I missed because of football. Supposedly they were jawing. They had to be like damn near separated over some bylaws. So Skip tonight,
Fabio is on the field talking shit.
while we're trying to shake hands.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
I love
dude.
Fabio.
I'm surprised he didn't take fucking first base.
Is he a player's coach or is he just like a look at me arguer?
No, he cares about the team.
He cares about the team.
He cares about the team. The team, he cared more than the team. The team was like in the line, like, hey, man, y'all motherfuckers can hit.
Hey,
And
go win that
Fabio's,
championship.
Yeah, go win that.
Go win it. Go
We'll
win
see-
the whole thing.
We'll see you down the line. And they're
Stay
like,
healthy.
we hope so.
Stay healthy.
So, anyways, yeah, we got our asses kicked.
Shout out Bad
Kevin,
Back
bro.
Backy for bringing us all the food on Sunday.
Big shout out to Bad Back Backy, and I was just about to shout him out in the softball field. My man has got a hammy. He's had a hammy for quite a while. And tonight, when I tell you down 15 runs, he legged out a heroic triple. It was like Kirk Gibson without the
Jeez.
winning. My man, he slapped it into right, and we had to get a fucking a pinch runner in for him
runner.
like yesterday. But I wanted to shout him out. He couldn't make it in the studio tonight, so.
Way to go, back. Good hustle. Charlie Hustle.
You want to hit any housekeeping before we get into some
Yeah,
fun questions?
I do. First off, Kyle, get your Instagram password.
Yeah, so I'm finding it harder and harder to get paid after I got out of the fucking NFL. What I'm saying here is we do these things on the Greenlight podcast that are
Right.
sponsored now, and I have to post them on Instagram, and I don't even fucking know my password. The guys at
Who does know their password?
The guys at Greenlight said, just send us your password so we can post socials for you and we'll take it off your plate. All you have to do is hang out with Chris, do podcasts, it'll be great. Now I'm responsible for knowing my password. I'm logged into my phone, but God forbid I have to log in elsewhere. No shot. I think I'm going to put an email to Instagram so I can get paid because Miller Lite has provided us
You gonna
with so
send
many great
Instagram an
opportunities.
email?
I'm gonna talk to somebody.
What's their
It's
their
after
URL?
hours. It's after
Their
hours.
email address.
Instagram at gmail.com.
I mean, Kyle, man, we were just talking about this last week. We used to get the paychecks, and they
Yes.
just sit in our lockers, bro.
So-
if you'd asked me like what my game check was rookie year, don't know. Now, we were lucky to be able to say that, but I was playing for the love of the game. Financial literacy, not good.
I
yet.
hired a financial advisor and somebody to really like take care of taxes and stuff, and they said, "Hey, man, we don't really have a good paper trail for you for your first 3 years in the NFL." Essentially,
Were you in the NFL?
And
It says on the internet you're a millionaire.
everybody in the NFL gets a check in their locker, and it says, "This is not a check." And you could ask me, everybody in the league gets a fucking check because they have direct deposit. It goes
It's like
right.
a big Tony Hawk check,
It goes
but
right
smaller.
to their. It goes right to
You
their
know?
bank account.
Yeah.
32,000,
Yeah.
whatever it is. I got the check, and I have every locker in the NFL has a lockbox behind you. Like if I'm sitting in my locker, I can reach right back and
Lock box.
a little bike
type in my
lock on it, like a gym
open
lock.
it up, throw your check in there on Wednesday. Fuck the bank.
Yeah.
I am the bank.
The bank will sort it out.
I am the bank.
You're
You
the
guys
bank.
are playing whatever you're playing, I'm in. I'm
Yeah.
going to lose a little bit of money, I'm in. I'm the bank.
Yeah.
I've got it. But then I come to find out direct deposit is like the way to do it.
Yeah, it just needs to go. You just want to get it right.
How many
into-
checks did I lose?
You didn't lose any checks.
I'm going to check the video.
We're going to make sure we get you that direct deposit here at the
That's
Greenlight
good.
Pod, and we're going to get your Instagram password. So I'm sure you're not alone. Another bit of housekeeping. This is what I was going to tell you. I'll just tell you now. So PFT was on Bussin' with the Boys, and he was like, "Yeah, we did a podcast at the Waffle House, first podcast at the Waffle House of
That's
all time."
bullshit. That's bullshit. PFT. You know that C-Long
He's in
had
the
to
camera.
spend.
Look
You know
directly into the
you know
camera.
that You know that Chris had to do the
Yeah.
fucking Waffle House punishment for his fantasy league.
Zoom in on his face.
It was
Kyle,
the
turn
fantasy
on the
league,
camera.
right?
Can you zoom in on his
My
face?
brother had to go and hang out at
We
a
can do that
Waffle
in
House, which is
post-production,
not a
mate.
very terrible punishment. But he did a podcast there, and he put in the time. And for you to go and say that, that's just wrong.
It was a terrible
And I'm going to come up there to Barstool headquarters in Manhattan. I'm going to come to that island, that concrete island, and I'm going to see you in the studio or wherever the hell in that big old office building. And I'm going to bring some waffles to your front door.
We wear sunglasses on this show too, bitch.
Yeah. That's fucked up.
We just cut a promo. You're my henchman now. You thought I hired you.
Angry.
You thought I hired you. You thought I hired you to podcast, which you're good at.
Thank
By the
you.
way, I want to say it again. You're fucking good on Sunday,
Namaste.
bro. Hey,
Thank
Sundays. Have you seen him on Sundays on that other pregame show with Adam
That other
Shine?
pregame
Adam Shine
show.
said it. He's a star.
And JJ and fucking
Jonathan Jones, Thomas Davis, Amy Trask.
Yeah, bro. But you're a star. I mean, here I am. Like I'm gonna pump up your head a little bit here.
I'm one guy in a constellation of stars.
But on this show, you're a henchman first.
I love that.
So like if other podcasters step
You know you got to
or
keep the
steal
first
our,
thing first.
our IP,
Yeah. Or our Instagram password.
you break their necks.
I like that.
Yeah.
Did you see this weekend some of our favorite guys like Mark Sanchez and Dan Orlovsky kind of got redemption with their plays being repeated?
Yes. So this is I don't know if you know this, Kyle. Do you know about the butt punt? Did you see the butt punt?
I did see the butt
Okay.
punt.
Do you remember the butt fumble? Your old roommate, Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, we all do.
Okay, but how about the other thing that happened Sunday, which was the
safety out the back of the
safety
end
out of the
zone.
back of the end zone, the Dan Orlovsky.
Jimmy G did it this
Which I
weekend.
wish he hadn't have done because that would have been a Randy Gregory pick six.
Right.
You Broncos fan, you.
Yeah, we would have scored a touchdown, a good one too.
So it's not fantasy related. It's just like
Well,
loyalty
the over
related.
still wouldn't
Loyalty.
have hit. But
Yeah.
basically, Dan Orlovsky was the most simultaneously thought of person in sports history, like online.
Right.
I don't know if you can make a case for somebody who during a game, their name, and they had nothing to do with the game, was input into the fucking Twitter machine more than Dan Orlovsky. Everybody went to their phone and was like, Leonardo DiCaprio.gif. He just
Same thing.
Right.
He's redeemed, bro, because somebody else finally did it.
He's redeemed, and also he gets to welcome somebody into his fraternity.
Right.
Yeah. It's like he's David Baker.
David Baker.
In a big red suit.
And Dan is fucking tall enough to
Yeah.
put on a David Baker man-sized suit and
Just
walk
much
up to somebody's
slimmer.
door and be like, welcome to the Hall of Fame. Welcome to the back of the end zone.
I would kill to send Dan Orlovsky to Jimmy's house to put a jacket on him. Your coach not to step on end racism back there. Like it was like the aerial shot was like the NFL trying to do something here in the end zone. No,
Stomping
Jimmy
all
G's in the
over it.
way. Jimmy G's just stepping in the back of the end zone, bro.
Are there any other plays like that are kind of like infamous that if you saw them, you would think of somebody that did it originally in some type of negative way?
If a punter got absolutely KO'd
Yeah.
in a Pro Bowl particularly,
I was thinking Chris Webber, the timeout.
The timeout thing for sure. How about a 16 seed beating a 1 seed in basketball? Every Virginia fan.
yeah.
Like we won the national title, like not soon after, and we will still be waiting with bated breath for it to happen again to somebody.
I think when the holder botches the hold, people think of Romo, right?
Yeah, I also think of
Doinks.
yeah. I was
Double
thinking about
doinks.
Trey Junkin too back in the day. I don't know why that's stuck in my head. Trey Junkin had a bad snap in the play.
Marcus Cooper on the Bears was running back a blocked field goal, and he pulled up early and celebrated. The ball got stripped. I always think of Don Beebe. Was that Don Beebe and Leon Lett?
Right.
Was it Don Beebe?
Yeah,
wanna
for
say
sure.
Don
the Bills?
Chase him down. Yep.
Yeah.
BB stripped him.
Just an
Beebe,
amazing
yeah.
effort.
Yeah, Beebe was the man. And then another one is getting called out. If a kid gets called out on their first home run in Little League, I'm going to be super excited. I'm going to run up to that kid and point
That was
and
you.
laugh. Because it's not me anymore.
Chris
Off the
Chris
side.
failed to touch home plate.
Allegedly. We don't need to go down
There's
that
no
road again.
cameras.
Yeah. It's 1996.
Crushed the ball. Didn't finish
With a dead
though.
bat.
Dead bat. Debatable.
No, that's fact.
They
You can
banned
ask
that
Dad.
bat.
You can ask Dad.
All right, you guys want to hit up some mailbag questions?
Dad.
We had a Twitter user, Cameron Gaudet, ask, what's the bigger code break? 3 miles per hour over the speed limit in the left lane or way too early blinker guy?
If you're in the left lane
you need to go.
There's no number that I can put on it that you're correct, but all you have to do is be attempting to pass the person in the slow lane and then get back as quickly and safely as you can to the slow lane so that the other people behind you have the opportunity to take the same move you did on them.
Just go 10 miles over the speed limit. If you're in the left lane, like if somebody's going 85 and a 60, that's their fucking business and they need to figure it out. Probably a motorcycle guy or something. No offense to that community. Boy, they're very sensitive. Very, dude. Oh my God.
We'll come beat you up.
Try to yeah, I'll just crash into you. You're coming to beat me up. I'm just gonna go bink, bink.
It's like Indiana Jones shooting the guy with the knife, sword.
Have you seen the way Mario Kart works?
Any other driving code breaks you guys know of?
Well, I want to tell you, it's the left lane. Being slow in the left lane is worse than the blinker. I do the blinker thing all the time. I'll have my blinker on for a mile.
Not using your blinker in general.
Yeah,
it's something that a lot of people are guilty of, and it could save us a lot of time if you just indicated which way you were going. That's really what it's called, an indicator.
I use my blinker in parking lots.
You want to unpack this?
No, I just
no, that's good. That's good. Like Barracks Road, there's stop signs.
Some
there's
people don't know which way
aisles.
I'm going, dude.
I need to know your intentions.
Exactly.
Here.
Most accidents happen in parking lots. That's
5 seconds from
your
house.
Isn't that a stat?
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
I don't know. That's true.
Most accidents happen
within a mile of your house.
Yeah,
I think
a parking lot.
Statistic I've heard. But no, another one is the slingshot. Say I'm waiting to pass somebody, right? Mm-hmm. And the person behind me gets out of turn and passes
Code
to
break.
my left because they use me being boxed in by the car I'm waiting for as an excuse. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
No, you can tell me.
There's 2 cars lined up ready to pass 1 car.
Yep.
The guy behind you says, I'm impatient,
God, dude,
and then he just goes.
I hate that shit so much. There's a line.
Yeah.
Actual work talk while pooping in adjacent stalls, a code break, question mark.
Yes. Depends on the job.
In football, I feel like people would talk in the stalls.
I would feel the opposite.
See, I don't even want to be around people shitting, but I hear people talking there. I don't know what they're talking about. I think somebody's laughing, but it's their butthole.
There's often people on the phone talking to their wife in there. And I'm like, how does this even like...
Yeah, dude. I don't want to be shitting around somebody that... Like, I don't even... Especially strangers. Like, it almost makes it worse. I would rather somebody I know hear me blow up a bathroom than somebody I don't know walk in and, like, giggle or laugh at me.
What's worse?
For sure.
A little bit of pee in the toilet, not on the seat, or when you sit down in the toilet and it's still warm from somebody else's ass.
Oh, the warmth.
Oh, that's the worst.
The
bro.
warmth is terrible.
I almost stand up so fast. I'm like, nope, don't have to shit anymore.
A bunch of toilet
Where's the
paper on
shower?
there. Yeah. Yeah. You shitting in the shower?
Yeah, I'm not showering.
That's disgusting. What kind of public bathrooms are you in?
Do you use shower shoes in the league?
At times I
heard.
At times I wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm not a shower shoes guy. Nor
Dude,
did
like,
I have
listen,
a rag.
I believe in kind of like.
I side with Ben Jones.
I walk around outside pretty barefoot most of the time.
Same.
So I'm not really worried about a shower that's cleaned every day. It's a little disgusting, I'm sure, to some.
Yeah, and all the NFL showers are different. Like there's a middle drain sometimes, and then there's like the wall rail drain, which is the cleanest one.
But how about like a guy who's not circumcised walking up and being like, you don't wear shower shoes? I'm like,
oh, whoa.
You want to talk about this? Because you have a fucking
You're
coat on
hoodie
down there. Okay,
you're in your winter
based on my shower shoes, dude.
Yeah.
You need to put the anteater away, sir.
Kettle, meat, pot. What is it?
Yeah, sweep under the rug a little bit sometimes.
Okay.
Fucking cannoli down there. Talking to me about bacteria.
I'm uncircumcised.
My foot is so far from everything. What? You are?
No.
Thank God.
What is that?
It'd be weird if they did it to one of you. And
what is that?
Like the middle child
they
shall
said
remain.
It's not big enough. We're just gonna leave as much of it as we can.
That would honestly support, like, maybe people who aren't circumcised become like He-Man, you know, because
Like the testosterone's stuck in there.
like it's just so much, you know.
It can't escape. So like
The newest trend in bodybuilding.
Your test escapes through pee.
The newest trend in bodybuilding.
Uncircumcised
People are getting circumcision.
bodybuilders.
People are getting uncircumcision surgeries. People are getting
Where are you
dick
getting
skin
it? From my
grafted
neck.
back.
Chris, from my neck.
But hey, bro, you look great.
Admin.
What happened? Oh, I got
This is
uncircumcised.
admin.
Happy Jewish New Year.
Hey,
Happy Rosh
man, you look
Hashanah.
great. What do you? Has it been? What? Oh shit! Is that that's a thing?
Rosh
huh?
Hashanah was this week.
It's a thing that Jewish people are circumcised. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Okay, so I don't want
God's chosen
to mess up
people.
the new
Yeah,
year. But yeah, dude, the newest trend is like dudes are getting skin grafted, dick skin down there to, you know.
Yeah.
After they finish their surgery to make them taller.
Yeah, dude, that's the type of thing that's going on right now. It wouldn't surprise
That's
me.
amazing. People
When
are
I-
getting height surgery.
Kyle, I believed you for a second. I was like, man, you know what? Come to think of it, I haven't really ever
you go,
checked your.
really? You didn't see the video.
Oh, that video. I didn't look that close.
You didn't have Zoom capability.
Enhance. Enhance.
Enhance.
Yeah.
That's
No.
Reed back there.
I needed a fucking. I'm just gonna make a joke. I'd make it to anybody. I needed like a fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit me with your best shot.
Fire away.
You know how many like
No, I know. I mean, I would have told.
somebody posted a video of this day in Bears history. Hold on. This day in Bears history, the Bears won a barn burner in Washington against the football team. And I said a day that'll live in infamy.
People were like, "Well, that explains it. We thought it was steroids, but he's uncircumcised."
The air conditioner works in Washington.
Oh man,
Stacey Dash hasn't heard about that day.
definitely
Stacey.
not.
Stacey,
definitely not.
She's lost it. She coming on the pod?
We invited her.
I'll talk to her. Stace. Take a ride in my Jeep. Clueless.
Stacy, let's go see the Natural History Museum. Did you see that? What happened to the mastodons?
They're dead?
Oh,
DMX, man. Rest in peace.
she's wondering if spaghetti got spilled on John F. Kennedy. Like, what's going on?
Okay.
If the Chargers call Kyle to come play tackle, will he do it? Let me say this. Brandon Staley. I'm Brandon Staley. Okay, Kyle? Hello, this is Brandon Staley.
Why did you leave Justin Herbert in the game?
Okay. So, yeah. Well, Kyle, we play to win. Did you see the game last year, Kyle?
Okay.
We're not going to
start from the top.
We're not going to tie.
Start
we
from
will,
the top.
Kyle, we will never not win.
Ask me to play for you.
Hey, Kyle, Brandon Staley.
Coach.
You haven't gotten circumcised, have you?
Why? You need more uncircumcised men in that locker room.
Well, I just want to make sure you didn't lose your strength. You know, there's an old parable.
It's
Samson,
fleeting.
he cut his beard and he wasn't strong again.
So don't ever take that turtleneck off, son. You're gonna need it.
Okay, Kyle. Let's cut to brass tacks. Whole team's hurt. Rashawn Slater's hurt. Got another guy named Storm Norton at right tackle waiting in the wings. We got to guard this pretty good, but we just need players, man. We need players.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched the game Sunday.
It was tough. You guys need help. Rashawn Slater's down.
Okay.
What are you gonna do, man? Can't just sit on the beach all day, bro.
Okay.
You gotta take care of that quarterback. You leave him in there down 38-10.
All right, Kyle. I know how
There's
to
gonna
win.
be a coup d'etat.
Bye-bye, Kyle. Kyle, I'm calling Taylor Lewan.
Who's also injured.
You're right. Never mind. Hi, Kyle. It's Brandon Staley.
Yeah, I'm still here. You want to get in and out?
I'm going to call TJ Lang now. Okay.
Good guy. I FaceTimed TJ. He didn't call me back. I got
Yeah.
beef. TJ, also, I'm cutting another promo.
I don't think he listens to this podcast.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
that
Kyle,
sucks.
which is worse for locker room vibes after a game? Game-losing field goal or blowout loss on the road?
I think a game-losing field goal is really tough because a blowout loss on the road makes you kind of look inwardly, and then when you're on that plane on the way home, you get to talk to a lot of the guys. You're all looking at the film, and instead of looking at it later, you're there with your buddy. It was always Charles Leno who would say, Kyle, like, you see 52, that's your guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he would quietly let me know when I was wrong, and he would celebrate loudly the things that I did well. And I think that's a microcosm of how planes and the NFL works, and especially after losses, is guys want to get it fixed. You know what I'm saying? But when you do it right, and then one guy happens to do it wrong, and it shows louder than your wrongs, which is the missed kick, that hurts, man.
I think a lot of times after losses like that, it's just a big contest to see who's the most mad on the way home, which sucks. When you lose a really close game, everybody is legitimately dejected. And so no one needs to pretend.
And
which comes a lot more. Everybody grieves different. Shout out K-Dot. But when you lose a close game like that, Kyle, it's easy to just be consumed in your grief over losing that game. When you lose a blowout, everybody's distracted by how do I show the coach who's going to be in panic mode, and shit runs downhill. Everybody's getting fired. People are fucking tearing their ace, their delt, pointing fingers, man, in every direction. So I just, for me, it was like a close loss that brought you together, and a blowout that drives you apart.
Got it. I guess I got blown out a lot. We went to New England one time, and I thought it was like being on a Pop Warner team playing against,
Kyle,
Alabama.
We got beat by New York Jets, Brett Favre, like 47-3. Listen to the full podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you want to get the podcast, you can get the podcast. Pretty simple. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Podcasts get pretty wild. This is real tame.